and welcome to my channel. My name is Brienne Beebe. I'm a high school math teacher and I love to help other teachers with their productivity. I want to help you master it so that way you're able to go home and have a life outside of teaching, to be with your family, be with your friends, do the things that you want to do that make you a whole person and not have to continue working. Because before I knew what I know now, I used to come home and just keep working all night and I was never done. And it was frustrating and it had me actually looking for other jobs outside of teaching, which was ludicrous because I worked so hard to be a teacher. I graduated during a recession and I couldn't get a job right away, and I worked so hard just to get the job that I have now that I love, and I was ready to walk away from it because I was working so much and I was burned out. So if you're looking to give your teacher productivity the ultimate boost, make sure you're on the waitlist for the Productive Teacher Toolkit. All the info is below, and make sure you watch this video because we are talking about the mistakes that teachers make regarding productivity. Okay, this first one is actually a pet peeve of mine now. It's when teachers use a brain dump as a to-do list. So a brain dump is a long, messy list of everything that you can think of. Everything that you have to do. You think of it, you put it down on this list. And then teachers try to use that as their to-do list and then complain that their to-do list is never done. Like, you just listed everything that you could think of. To think that you'll get that all done in one day, that is extremely unrealistic. The brain dump is not actually meant to be a to-do list. It's too much. Like I said, it's messy and unorganized. Where do you start? What do you do first? What's most important? All of that needs to be sorted out. So a brain dump on its own is not a productive to-do list. What I suggest instead is using a power list. A power list is a short mini to-do list of about 3 tasks that you're going to work on today. So instead of taking this long list that resembles a receipt from CVS, you're taking like a Post-it and putting down these 3 things. These are the big goals for today. That's what you want to get done. Once you get done with the power list, you could go back to tackling all the crazy things on your brain dump list. But don't get too crazy. Just pick 1 or 2 quick little things that you can knock out when you have your big priorities taken care of. The next mistake that I see teachers making all the time is not planning for their planning periods. I know our schedules are all different, but for my planning periods, I only get 42 minutes. And so I need to make the most of that time. And you know what wastes time? Sitting down, wondering what I should do. Now, I know what it's like to be a teacher because I am one. You sit down, there's so much to do, and it's like, where do I start? Where do I begin? Don't waste your time wondering what to do. Before I leave each school day, I know what my power list items are for the next day. And I know when I'm going to tackle them. I have certain time periods in my day where I'm able to work uninterrupted, and I figure out the biggest priority needs to be in this time. Lesser priorities, they end up during a study hall when I'm, that's not my main task, is working on things, but I am able to work on things as I supervise students usually. So I have all that figured out beforehand. So when I walk into school in the morning, I know exactly what I need to be doing and when. If you saw my last video, then you would have heard how to make multitasking work for you. I share the secret in that video. But multitasking in general is often a productivity mistake. We've been conned into thinking that we can do a bunch of things at once, and that's not the case. If you need to really focus on something, your brain can only focus on one thing at a time. So to think that you're going to be able to grade while you write emails, it's not going to happen, or it's not going to happen well. You're likely to have a bunch of typos, make a bunch of mistakes that you have to go back and fix. And you know what just happened? You wasted a bunch of time. So multitasking in general, we want to avoid. You want to focus on one thing at a time so that way you get it done correctly the first time, and so you don't have to waste time going back to fix anything. Our next productivity mistake is something that you're not doing, and it's batching. Batching is one of my favorite things. I love to batch. Batching is when, in simplest terms, you take similar tasks and you work on them together. Because they're similar, you're able to work on them without having to do a bunch of task switching and get more done in once that way. This is like the opposite of multitasking. As teachers, we have so many tasks that get batched together, or could be if we are being productive with our time. But things like grading and lesson planning, we could batch those and actually save ourselves a lot of time. Our next mistake is not exclusive to teachers. I see everybody doing this, but it's organizing something and relying on organization alone to be a time-saving solution. Have you ever spent time cleaning out the pantry or the refrigerator or a closet just for it to end up messy and disorganized again like a month or so later, or sooner in some cases? Not calling anyone out, but it happens. We see all these great ideas on Pinterest and in other teachers' classrooms. We decide to implement them. We think that it's going to change our lives and make everything so much better, and it does, short term, for a little while. It doesn't last though. So relying on just organization to really save you time, it doesn't actually work. And here's why. That brings us to our next mistake, not having systems. Systems are your repeatable step-by-step procedures. Now, if you don't make a plan for your systems will kind of work themselves out. So if we're talking about organizing your closet, if you don't have a system for how you put your clothes back into your closet, it's gonna end up messy again. If you organized some space for your students in your classroom for them to get supplies, but you didn't really come up with a system on how to get the supplies, put the supplies back, communicate all that with your students, it's not going to last. When they're planned intentionally, systems can help you create a set procedure to follow. They can create consistency for you and for your students. They'll clearly define where to start, and they're going to automate the entire process for you. So systems are a huge productivity tool and something that you want to incorporate into your classroom. Now, some systems are dictated to us by our schools and there's nothing that we can do about them. But for everything else, anything that's inside of your classroom, if you can create a system for it, you can save yourself so much time. And if you're wondering, how do you create systems? I have the answer. It's actually part of what I teach inside of the Productive Teacher Toolkit. So it's a self-paced course to help you master your productivity in so many ways, but systems are a big, big part of it. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And it's time to rectify these mistakes. Stop using your brain dump as your to-do list. Start planning your planning periods. Stop multitasking. Start batching. Stop using organization alone as a solution. And it's time to start creating systems that work for you. That is everything for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, thanks for watching.